Imagine a city, once vibrant and whole, suddenly cleaved in two. Imagine families torn apart, streets severed, a concrete barrier rising to divide not just land but ideologies, hopes and dreams. This was the stark reality of Berlin in the aftermath of World War II. As the dust settled on a devastated Europe, the victorious Allied powers divided Germany and its capital, Berlin, into zones of occupation. The Soviet Union controlled the eastern sector, while the United States, Great Britain and France administered the western sectors. On August 13, 1961, the world awoke to a shocking sight. East German troops, under cover of night, had begun erecting a barbed wire barrier, physically dividing East and West Berlin. The Berlin Wall was more than just a physical barrier. It was a manifestation of the ideological chasm that had come to define the Cold War. The Soviet Union, driven by its communist ideology, sought to contain the spread of capitalism and democratic ideals, which it viewed as threats to its power. Soviet officer, by physically sealing off East Berlin, the regime hoped to crush the spirit of dissent and create a society completely aligned with its communist principles. The Berlin Wall swiftly became a potent symbol of oppression and the stark contrast between the communist East and the democratic West. For the West, it represented the brutality of communist regimes and their disregard for individual freedoms. For those trapped behind it, the wall was a constant reminder of their confinement and the opportunities denied to them. The Berlin Wall, initially a crude barbed wire fence, underwent a series of transformations over the years, evolving into a complex and formidable barrier designed to prevent any and all crossings. The initial barbed wire fence, erected in haste, was soon replaced by a sturdier concrete wall. Watchtowers, strategically positioned along the wall's length, provided guards with unobstructed views and the ability to quickly respond to any escape attempts. Floodlights illuminated the death strip, a barren no-man's land that ran parallel to the wall, ensuring that no movement went unnoticed. Vehicle barriers, anti-vehicle trenches and dog runs were added to deter escape attempts. Tripwire-activated alarms and sensitive microphones were installed to detect any breaches in the wall's defenses. The Berlin Wall in its final form stretched for over 100 miles, encircling West Berlin and cutting it off from the surrounding East German territory. The wall itself consisted of two parallel walls, separated by the infamous death strip. The outer wall, facing West Berlin, was heavily guarded and covered in graffiti, a testament to the anger and frustration of those trapped behind it. The inner wall, facing East Berlin, was even more heavily fortified, designed to prevent anyone from approaching the death strip. The death strip, a barren no-man's land between the two walls, was a killing field for those desperate enough to attempt an escape. This heavily mined and patrolled area, devoid of any cover, served as a grim deterrent to potential escapees. The death strip, a chillingly apt name, was the most heavily guarded area along the Berlin Wall, a testament to the East German government's ruthless determination to prevent escapes. This barren stretch of land, ranging in width from 10 to 150 meters, was a killing zone for those seeking freedom. Razor wire, anti-vehicle trenches and beds of raked gravel, designed to reveal footprints, made traversing this treacherous terrain nearly impossible. Guard dogs, trained to attack on sight, patrolled the death strip, their presence a constant reminder of the ever-present danger. The most chilling aspect of the death strip was the presence of shoot-to-kill orders for East German border guards. Anyone attempting to cross the death strip, regardless of age or reason, was considered an enemy of the state and could be shot without warning. Despite the formidable defenses and ever-present threat of death, the human spirit of ingenuity and yearning for freedom could not be contained. Stories of daring escapes abound, each one a testament to the courage, desperation and sheer ingenuity of those seeking freedom. Some attempted to scale the wall, using ropes, ladders, or even hot air balloons. Others dug tunnels, painstakingly excavating their way to freedom under the cover of darkness. One of the most daring escapes involved a hot air balloon. Two families, desperate to reach the west, crafted a makeshift hot air balloon using bed sheets and propane tanks. Under the cover of night, they soared over the wall, landing safely on the other side. Another remarkable escape involved a tunnel dug by a group of West Berliners, leading over 50 East Berliners to freedom before it was discovered by the Stasi. The Berlin Wall cast a long shadow over the city, its presence felt in every aspect of daily life.
For us, the wall was more than just a physical barrier. It was a symbol of separation of the lives and opportunities denied to those on the other side.
For East Berliners, it represented a barrier to opportunity, freedom, and connection with the outside world.
We felt trapped, isolated from our families and the world beyond. The wall was a daily reminder of our lack of freedom. Families and friends were torn apart, separated by a concrete barrier that seemed insurmountable. Contact between East and West Berlin was strictly limited, with only a few heavily guarded checkpoints allowing for passage. The wall itself became a canvas for protest art, its surface covered in graffiti, murals, and messages of hope and defiance. East Berlin, on the other hand, was a city under constant surveillance, with the Stasi monitoring citizens' every move and ruthlessly suppressing any form of dissent.
The Berlin Wall, for all its seeming permanence, was ultimately a symbol of a flawed ideology and a regime that had lost its legitimacy.
By the late 1980s, the Soviet Union, weakened by economic stagnation and internal dissent, was losing its grip on its Eastern European satellites.
In 1989, a wave of revolutions swept across Eastern Europe, toppling communist regimes and challenging the very foundations of the Soviet Empire.
In Poland, the Solidarity movement, led by Lech Walesa, forced the communist government to hold free elections, resulting in a resounding victory for the pro-democracy opposition. In Hungary, the government opened its border with Austria, allowing East Germans to flee to the west. Thousands of East Germans, sensing an opportunity to escape, flocked to Hungary, putting increasing pressure on the East German government to ease travel restrictions.
On November 9, 1989, after weeks of mounting pressure and mass demonstrations, the East German government announced a relaxation of travel restrictions. Günter Schabowski, the party boss of East Berlin, announced at a press conference that East Germans would be allowed to cross into West Berlin, effective immediately. Within hours, thousands of East Berliners, eager to seize this unexpected opportunity, flocked to the wall, demanding to be let through. Overwhelmed by the sheer number of people and unsure of how to proceed, the border guards, after hours of standoff, finally relented, opening the gates and allowing East Berliners to cross freely into West Berlin for the first time in decades. The scenes of jubilation that followed were broadcast around the world. East and West Berliners, reunited after decades of separation, embraced, danced on top of the wall, and used hammers and chisels to chip away at its once impenetrable facade. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the symbolic end of the Cold War and the beginning of a new era in Europe. It served as a powerful reminder of the fragility of freedom and the human cost of division and oppression. The wall's legacy continues to resonate today, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of intolerance, extremism, and the suppression of human rights. In the years since its fall, the Berlin Wall has been preserved as a memorial, a reminder of the city's divided past and a symbol of the triumph of freedom over oppression. Sections of the wall remain standing, covered in graffiti and murals, serving as a canvas for artists and a poignant reminder of the wall's enduring legacy. The fall of the Berlin Wall taught the world a valuable lesson that even the most seemingly insurmountable barriers, whether physical or ideological, can crumble when confronted with the collective will of a people determined to be free. The Berlin Wall, a monument to division and oppression, ultimately failed to extinguish the human spirit's yearning for freedom and unity. Its fall, a testament to the power of hope and resilience, marked a pivotal moment in history, ushering in a new era of peace and cooperation. The wall's legacy serves as a reminder that walls, both physical and metaphorical, may divide us, but they cannot extinguish the bonds of shared humanity. It teaches us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit, driven by a yearning for freedom and a belief in a better future, will always find a way to overcome even the most daunting of obstacles. As we navigate an increasingly complex and interconnected world, the lessons of the Berlin Wall remain as relevant as ever. It is a reminder that we must remain vigilant in defending the principles of freedom, democracy, and human rights, for they are the cornerstones of a just and equitable society. Let us strive to build bridges of understanding and cooperation rather than walls of division and fear.